Hey there, everybody. The purpose of this little video is to give you a real quick idea on how to drop in a digital confidence interval. Some of you are drawing them by hand and dropping in pictures into your Word documents that way, and that's totally fine. But I wanted to give you a digital way to do it too. It's a little ghetto, but so is pretty much everything else I do. So anyway, I made up some bogus ones here. These are just three percentage ones, 0.32, 0.42, so 46%, 54%, and so forth. So the first thing you want to do is I want to build the number line. Then once I build the number line, I can build the intervals on that number line. So I'll tell you how I do this. I just open up Firefox. Drag that over here. And then just do a Google search for number line generator. And the first hit I usually get, almost always, is this one. This is called the mathworksheetsite.com. Shout out. Click on this bad boy, and what it tells you is it says give you a starting number and an ending number and then an increment. So in other words, it's going to give you a line that's got a bunch of numbers in order starting at this one and ending at this one. So looking back at my intervals, let's see, the smallest number I've got is 32%. And the biggest one I've got is 54. So why don't I make it start at 30% and go to 55%? Actually, let's go to 60. 30 to 60 by fives. So I'll go back to here. We'll start at 30. We'll end at 60, and we'll go by fives. And we'll create it. And what this does is it drops a whole bunch of them in front of you. So now that's my number line that I can actually add my intervals to. So there's that. So what you can do, what I do now is I just use Snipping Tool, which I'm sure you've used by now if you've had me in class before, just because it's a wonderful, wonderful little tool. And I'm going to grab just one of these number lines. Okay, then I'm going to right click on the picture I just grabbed, copy it, and then I'm going to drop it into my Word document where I want the intervals to be. So now we got it right there. You can resize it if you want to a little bit, change the margins to get it centered. That kind of stuff. Okay, put it in the middle, and so forth and so on. So there's your number line now. Okay, so now what we got to do is stack the intervals on top of it. And I'd like to shout out one of your students gave me a hand with this one. I had never thought to do this before. At this point, I would usually go into Microsoft Paint and take it even more back to the 1990s. But an easier way, I think, definitely, is to go to Insert, Shapes. And you got a couple choices here. The student that gave me this idea just used a line, just a line. So I'm going to do his idea because I think it's pretty cool actually. So just use a line, and let's put this first interval in. It starts at 32% and goes to 42%. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of eyeball where 32% is. So that's 32 and a half. So 32 is going to be about here. I'm going to left click, and I'm going to hold the shift button down. And what happens if you do that is you can drag a line, and it stays horizontal to the axis that you just dropped into your document. So you see what happens right here? It actually stays horizontal. If you don't hold the shift button down, you can pull it up and down and have all kinds of fun stuff going on with it. Okay, so that line represents the interval that we spoke of in class. It represents all the values between the lower confidence limit and the upper confidence limit. And one thing we were messing around with this student in class was you can go up to Shape Outline, and this is where you can actually change. Like you can change the weight to make it actually look more thick. I believe you can even go higher than 6. Is that right? I bet you can. I bet you can. Yeah, you can make that thing pretty much as fat as you want. I'm going to make it 10. So what I did, I'll blow the screen up so you can see it over here, this format shape option. So there's a confidence interval. That's it. That represents that fish tank we keep speaking of, that we are 95% confident contains our parameter. So now to do the other ones, exactly the same thing. Exactly the same thing. We're going to insert a line. Okay, 46 to 54% is going to be, say, here. That's 47 and a half. Let's put it right about here. This is the ghetto part. Better software for statistics would actually draw them for you, but you know what? This is free. To 54, which is going to come out to here. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the same formatting that we did before. I'm going to change the color too, because this one's a different interval. I want it to kind of stand out. And then I'll change the width. I like the idea that that one was 10, right? So I'll just type in 10, press enter. There it is. Okay, there she is right there. And if you really want to get fancy, and I kind of like doing this, make the interval numbers up here match the font of the intervals that they are down there. That way you've got kind of a legend. Your reader can kind of follow. And last but not least, the 37 to 45 one, pretty straightforward. Same idea, except the difference, and I did this one as a kind of an afterthought. This one starts and ends at values, or at least it starts at values that intersect other intervals. So personally, what I would do is I would put that one above, kind of offset it, and come out to 45. That looks like 45. Maybe make it green to make it kind of complete the great trifecta of RGB. And then make the width 10. There we go. And then make the font green. I'm getting a little carried away with the font colors now, but you get the point. You get the point. It's all about clarity. So now each of those intervals represents the top and bottom estimates of what you think the parameters you're estimating are. So this is just a really quick way. So again, a shout out to your student and your classmate, I should say. You're my student, your classmate. Yeah, hopefully this helps you. Some of you might say, to hell with that, I'm going to do it by hand anyway. But some of you might actually like this way. It's kind of a nice way to digitally drop in confidence intervals. All right, we'll see you in class.